what you've written, well, there's two options. The better option is that one of you take what you've done so far and, dare I say, type it up. We need volunteers for typing these things up. To type them up and send them to me. Florina, you want to do some typing? You're offering for everyone, or what? Oh, wow. Okay. But some of you might want to continue working on what you're doing, and that's also welcome. But I don't want to burden you with anything. I'm happy with whatever thoughts you have had so far and that you would like to share. So, is this all right? Is this? But one thing is, please identify yourselves. I'd like to know who has contributed to this. Okay? And I'd like to be able to say, and we will produce something out of this for next time. I would like to say that, but I'm a little shy of making commitments. We heard about the risk of commitments. We also heard about the risk of not making commitments. But in this case, I'm going to hold on to the risk of not making a commitment, and at the same time, bring up the possibility. Can we have this projector again on? So I want to thank you all for all the efforts you've put into this. And I think something nice will come from it. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. I want to read a little from Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is Untitled Chapter 1. In case you're not aware, our Swayam Bhagavan Keshava Swami Maharaj, who had to go on his way this morning, has written a wonderful little book called CC Compact, and it's available, can be downloaded, digital copy, and he gives this wonderful way of sort of mapping the Chaitanya Charitamrita in very simple terms. The first, I think it's 13 chapters of Antya-lila, he gives one-word labels for the themes, namely appreciation and, correction. So they kind of go back and forth. There's appreciation of devotees, and then there's correction of other devotees. So here we're reading about appreciation, and specifically appreciation of Srila Rupa Goswami. So Rupa Goswami has been in Vrindavan, and he has made the long and arduous journey to Puri, Jagannath Puri, to meet with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as also Sanatana Goswami will make that journey. And so he comes to Puri, but on his way, there's a town, I believe it's in Odisha, called Satyabhamapur, or Satyabhamapuri, Satyabhamapur. And so on his way, Rupa Goswami stays overnight in this town. And while he's there at night, this is described earlier in this chapter, he has a dream. Satyabhama comes to him in the dream and says, "Write a drama about me." Oh, okay. Because he's been planning a drama about Krishna and Vrindavan, and Satyabhama is kind of saying, "What about me?" So he has this dream and he's thinking about this, and he comes to Vrindavan, to Puri. And in Puri, so here we are, text 65 of chapter 1, Antya Lila. On the next day, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to see Srila Rupa Goswami, the omniscient Lord spoke as follows: "Do not try to take Krishna out of Vrindavan, for he does not go anywhere else at any time." The Krishna known as Yadukumar is Vasudeva Krishna. He is different from the Krishna who is the son of Nanda Maharaj. Yadukumar Krishna manifests his pastimes in the cities of Mathura and Dwaraka. But Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, never at any time leaves Vrindavan. After saying this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to perform his noontime duties, leaving Srila Rupa Goswami somewhat surprised. It's more than once in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Lord Chaitanya meets with devotees, says something, and then goes for his noontime duties. What is this noontime duties? Well, in the Brahminical tradition, Vaishnava tradition, but more broadly Brahminical, one performs Sandhya Vandana 3 times a day, which is including, but has much more to it, includes the chanting of the Gayatri mantra or mantras, especially the Brahma Gayatri mantra. And prior to this, the very strict Brahmins, they will first bathe. So bathing 3 times a day and then chanting this mantra. And we have this indicated in our prayer of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Jayang Stuvangs Tasya Yashas Trisandhyam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda. Trisandhya means morning, noon, evening. Jayang means meditating. Stuvam is praising. Jayang Stuvangs Tasya, of him. Yasha, of the glories or the fame of him. Yashaha, Trisandhyam, 3 times a day. This is what we do. Anyway, so Lord Chaitanya is going for his noontime duties, and he leaves Rupa Goswami kind of, oh, what was this all about? Why does he suddenly speak about this? And then he remembers, Satyabhama ordered me to write 2 different dramas. Now I understand that this order has been confirmed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Formerly, I wrote the two dramas as one composition. Now I shall divide it and describe the incidents in two separate works. I shall write two separate invocations of good fortune and two different introductions. Let me think deeply about the matter and then describe two different sets of incidents. So, who is the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita? Krishnadas Kaviraj. He is writing about what he may have heard directly from Rupa Goswami, or not, or possibly from Raghunath Das. How Rupa Goswami is thinking about how he's going to write this drama. And I thought to call attention to this because instead of just thinking, well, that's Rupa Goswami and I am not Rupa Goswami, therefore forget about writing, I want to suggest to turn it around and say, one of our previous acharyas was writing, and he was thinking also how to do it, and he got advice how to do it, and he took that advice. Some of the advice, okay, pretty special, coming from Satyabhama herself, so you may say, well, I don't get such dreams, and I don't have Lord Chaitanya coming to me and telling me, so, how can I do this? Well, again, we can take it that some kind of guidance is coming. Satyabhama, we can say is, how to say, expansion of Srimati Radharani, right? And Srimati Radharani is the energy of Lord Krishna, the Hladini Shakti. And I'm going to get sidetracked here, but point I want to make is we can also be inspired from within to express, to write. So that's what I wanted to say. But then a little later, verse 75. Generally, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited a verse while dancing and chanting before the Rata, but no one knew why he was reciting that particular verse. And what is that verse? Here it's quoted. Maybe we go to the Sanskrit. Yakko marahara sa eva hivaras ta eva chaitrakshapas te chonmilita malati surabaya prodhakadambanila sa chaivasmita tapi tatra surata vyapara lila vidho reva rodasi veta sitarutale Cheta samutkantate. That very personality who stole my heart during my youth is now again my master. These are the same moonlit nights of the month of Chaitra. The same fragrance of malati flowers is there, and the same sweet breezes are blowing from the Kadamba forest. In our intimate relationship, I am also the same lover, yet still my mind is not happy here. I am eager to go back to that place on the bank of the Reva, under the Vetasi tree. That is my desire. Now, the thing is, where is this verse from? This is not from the Goswamis. This is not from Lord Chaitanya. What is this? This is a famous verse known by the poeticians, the aesthetes of India, coming from a work of poetics called the Kavya Prakasha. and which was compiled by one aesthetician, poetician called Mamata. And he lived, when did he live? 14th century, 13th, I forget. He was much earlier than Lord Chaitanya. So this verse has, it's as if, because it's mentioned, Lord Chaitanya would chant this verse during the Ratha Yatra, and the devotees were kind of like, why is he chanting that verse? It's sort of like if he were singing some Bollywood song. They were maybe even a little embarrassed, why is he singing that? And the point that's being made by Krishnadas Kaviraj is nobody understood this except one person. Who was that one person? Swarup Damodar. Actually, two persons, because Srila Rupa Goswami also knew. Yes. Yes, and Rupa Goswami then writes a verse in response, or as a kind of echo of the verse that Lord Chaitanya had been chanting. Priyaso yam Krishna sahachari karukshetra militas tataham saradha tadidam ubayor sangamasukam tatapyanta kelan madara murali panchamajushe manome kalindi Pulina vipinaya sprihayati. This, by the way, is, the meter is called Shikarini. And Shikarini, this is the meter, it's echoing in the last 4 syllables of each line. And Shikarini is, it's a particular sweet mixture of yogurt and sugar candy, and there's different formulas for it, but it's also the name of a meter. My dear friend, now I have met my very old and dear friend Krishna on this field of Kurukshetra. I am the same Radharani, and now we are meeting together. It is very pleasant, but I would still like to go to the bank of the Yamuna, beneath the trees of the forest there. I wish to hear the vibration of his sweet flute playing the 5th note within the forest of Vrindavan. So why do I mention all of this? This is, you could say, part of what Rupa Goswami is doing in his writing. Actually, this verse is quoted in his Padyavali. But there are more verses mentioned from his Vidagdha Madhava. So you can read. Our time is so short, we can't really do it here. And I wanted to do so many other things, but alas, that's how life is. Let me. Okay, Hare Krishna. Let me jump now to my sort of pitch for writing. We did a presentation in Mayapur some years back, 2018 was it, called Write and Be Happy. You've heard chant and be happy. How about write and be happy? So, voicing our way to Krishna through the written word. And I'll jump here. Who can write and for whom? Well, Srila Prabhupada wrote to Brahmananda in a letter, all students should be encouraged to write some article after reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and teachings of Lord Chaitanya. They should realize the information and they must present their assimilation in their own words. Otherwise, how they can become preachers? So all students means all devotees of any gender, any age, etc. How do I be a writer? Well, start thinking of yourself as a writer. When someone asks you, what do? You can say, I'm a writer. Oh, really? What have you written? Well, I haven't written anything yet, but it's just now coming. Here's the affirmation you can give yourself. I allow myself to write. And a detail here at this stage, but you can ask yourself, who is my audience? Your audience might be yourself. It might be your children. It might be your grandchildren. Might be your great-grandchildren who have not yet appeared. I many times think, why didn't my grandparents and their parents, why none of them wrote anything? I would have been so fascinated by anything they wrote, but no. What to write? Well, Prabhupada wrote in a letter, if you continue to write articles on the basis of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, certainly they will appeal to the core of the hearts of all human beings, and surely they will respond. So continue the policy scrupulously, and you will be successful. Okay, I have to do this quickly. So, where and when to write? Well, sthane stita shrutikatang tanuvan manobir. Lord Brahma says in 10th canto, stay where you are. In other words, from anywhere you can write, or in any condition, any stage of your life. You don't have to wait until you're retired. You don't have to wait until you are a vanaprastha or maybe a sannyasi. Prabhupada especially said writing is for sannyasis, but he also said everyone should write. It can help to make a special place for yourself to write. This is my writing universe, my corner, my desk, my room. Some devotees, I have a good friend, a devotee, who he's writing his memoirs, and they're very fascinating memoirs, and very humorous also. And he writes in a coffee shop. He doesn't drink coffee, but he writes in a coffee shop. Oh, but I have no time. Ich habe keine Zeit. Well, what to do? Make time. How to make time? Well, first comes desire, and then Krishna helps. When to write? Ideally, every day. Jeden Tag. Tag ein, Tag aus. Yes, whether middle-aged, junior, senior, whatever. Okay. Why write? This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is Krishnadas Kaviraj speaking. He says, It is by the mercy of all these Vaishnavas and Gurus that I attempt to write about the pastimes and qualities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Whether I know it or not, it is for self-purification that I write this book. This is emphasized, Prabhupada. So why to write? For self-purification. In the purport to the same, one should write transcendental literature to purify oneself, not for credit. By writing about the pastimes of the Lord, one associates with the Lord directly. Now you may say, but the writing's already been done. It's all there in Shastra. It's all there in the Goswamis. What can I write? What can I add? What do I know? Well, why does Prabhupada say everyone should write? And why does he say after assimilation? So one of the best ways to get yourself reading is to have a writing project for which you need to know what you're talking about from some source. For us, this means generally Shastra. So then it gets you reading. And that reading gets you reflecting. Shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. The writing becomes the process of digestion. Digesting. Shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. Okay. Quickly. Why write? Well, people want to hear your take on your spiritual path. Yes, we want people to read Srila Prabhupada's books, but people are also asking, okay, but what's your experience? How is it you understand? And for many people, that is the most important way of access. The next point is, in comparison to how much is being written just in the English language by people in different religious traditions, they're writing hundreds, and I don't exaggerate, hundreds of new titles every year related to Christianity. What to speak of other religious traditions. But what are we doing? Well, we have a good number of books, but in comparison, it's a drop in the bucket. Now, I presented this being asked to respond to what's written in red here at the ISKCON Leaders Sangha. How can we meld traditional values, meld means bring together, traditional vows and sacred concepts from our Shastra with the need to remain relevant to the ever-changing society we live in? It's a nice question, and it's a how can we question. So I'm suggesting one way we might be able to do this is through writing. And one particular way of writing just happens to be writing drama, which, when performed, can be so attractive. And one way to perform drama, because this is one of the reasons we don't perform drama, is we think it takes too much time to prepare, to memorize lines, to memorize script. First of all, our memories don't work the way it used to in previous yugas. Who has time for this? So one very interesting and can be effective way to perform a drama is as what is sometimes called a radio drama. Usually radio dramas are performed so you don't see the performers, you only hear them, and they are broadcast on radio. They still do this on radio, BBC radio. They have lots of radio dramas. But another way to do a radio drama is that you stand on the stage, stand or sit. Someone may be standing on their head, different positions, whatever. So you are seen by the audience, but you have the script right with you in your hands. And all you have to do is read your part, but read it dramatically. And all that takes, generally, is a couple of rehearsals. You can read through a few times yourself. You don't need any stage props. You don't need any costumes. You don't need to think about stage movement, although you could bring that in. Stage directions. You just have the script and read. But read dramatically. And it could also be with some sound, some sort of sound effect. There's different ways it can be done. So that's one tip I have of getting from the point of, okay, we have a drama, but who's going to perform it? How to write? Practice, 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 practice. Feedback. Don't be shy. Show it to someone. Don't be proud, thinking that if the feedback is negative, I will hate this person. Find your writer's voice. That's a big topic. A nice example, Prananda Devi, a devotee in Alachua, Florida, has written this very nice book, Wise Love, Bhakti and the Search for the Soul of Consciousness. So it's in, she has over the years developed her writing voice, and so she's written a very attractive book to inspire people to take up Krishna Bhakti. Avoid cliches. You know what a cliche is? And avoid imitating Srila Prabhupada's language and phraseology. Something we get, we tend to, from reading Prabhupada's books and hearing, and we start talking like, and sometimes that doesn't really work. Okay, that's pretty much what I wanted to say, and we're over time. Yeah, make a writing plan. Get reading. Read Prabhupada's books, but dare I say, you can read other books as well. A good writer is a reader, someone who has read widely. You can read about writing also. I do that occasionally. It can bring a lot of inspiration. There's so many books, good books about writing. There's one book, I just remember the title comes to mind, Writing to the Bone. I forget the name of the author, but she's encouraging writing. Writing to the bone. get curious, get connected with other writers, get yourself published, or get yourself performed. You can perform in the temple. Right. Well, I feel we have simply merely scratched the surface of our topic. Yoga, the art of play. I hope it's given you stirred up something in you, and I hope it's going to lead to some of you, all of you, why not all of you, doing some writing. You may not have thought of yourself in that way, but I'm guessing that just by the fact that you're still here, those of you still here on the fourth day of our seminar, that you do have something in you wants to do something like what we're talking about. Could that be the case? Yes? No? Maybe? No. No. Yes? No? I see a lot of uncertainty here. The question, was ist die Frage? The question is whether you are inspired to do some writing, specifically of drama, because I think that's a very conducive, easy, it's something you can enact, you can perform, you can create a drama with two persons, you can print it out, have two of you do the reading during a Sunday program, for example. It's not a big, it's not something beyond imagination, right? And I hope also to have inspired you that there is a place for imagination in the practice of Krishna consciousness. Okay, I think we'll stop there. Thank you all very much. Oh, question?
Can I ask a question?
Okay, yeah.
Because you mentioned the Brihad Bhagavatamrita,
Yeah.
And was the author, had he a vision of the story, or what was also his creativity involved?
Yeah, that question comes invariably, especially with Brihad Bhagavatamrita, because it seems like a story. The first part, Narada is sort of wandering through the universe and visiting the different devotees and speaking with them, and the second part. So, as I understand, yes, Sanatana Goswami did have a kind of some kind of revelation, but a revelation, I would say, in which it's not that it was all spelled out for him and that he was simply parroting. My personal understanding is it was his, because it's Brihad Bhagavatamrita, it's his, in a sense, commentary. He wrote other commentaries on the Bhagavatam, and he wanted to make it attractive, for all sorts of readers, and so some kind of vision was there, and then based on that, he brought his realization from the Bhagavatam and his creativity. So I think it's a combination on his part. That's my understanding. But I must say, we'll have to ask Sanatana Goswami if we ever get that opportunity. Yes. Good. So I will say thank you all very much for participating, for joining, and taking part, and for helping, because you have been helping me. This is, to my benefit, if to no one else's. And I hope you will keep this, something of this idea that there is place for what we're speaking about in our culture of Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada said that this Krishna consciousness movement will be spread by cultural conquest. And a very integral part of our culture is drama. Yeah. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna.